This past year has been a heartbreaking reminder of the human cost of natural disasters. From the El Nino phenomenon that ravaged Ecuador, wildfires that raged through Hawaii, earthquakes in Afghanistan, to the ferocious cyclones that battered Myanmar and Malawi, the past 12 months have been marked by the fury of Mother Nature. Today we will suspend our focus on statistics and take a hard look at the human and economic costs of these disasters. The devastating earthquakes in Turkey. One of the most shocking disasters of the last year was the devastating earthquake that struck southern Turkey on February 6, 2023, near the southern border of Syria. With a magnitude of 7.8, it was one of the strongest to hit earthquake-prone Turkey in over 20 years, rivaling the powerful quake of 1939. The epicenter was located near Gaziantep in south-central Turkey, a region home to thousands of Syrian refugees and numerous humanitarian aid organizations. Just 9 hours later, a second earthquake with a magnitude of 7.5 struck around 59 miles or 95 kilometers to the southwest, exacerbating the crisis. In Syria, the earthquakes worsened the already dire situation caused by the ongoing war, putting approximately 3.7 million children in an even more vulnerable position. According to the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, the earthquakes had a profound impact on an estimated 15.73 million people in both Syria and Turkey. In Turkey alone, 2.5 million children, many of whom were Syrian refugees, faced an increased risk of poverty, child labor, or child marriage in the aftermath of the disaster. 9. China floods, 2023. Several floods struck China in the summer of 2023, starting in July, with typhoons and heavy rainfall, causing devastation across the country. Typhoon Doksuri, the fifth Pacific typhoon of the year, brought record-breaking rainfall to 16 cities and provinces in northeastern China. Beijing witnessed its heaviest rain in 140 years, with over 60% of the annual rainfall occurring within just 83 hours. The monsoon season was exacerbated by extreme rains and typhoons in August. Mudslides, flooding, and flash floods put immense pressure on infrastructure and flood control systems. Typhoon Sailoa struck southern China on September 2nd, leading to the evacuation of more than 880,000 people, and was swiftly followed by Typhoon Haikui on September 5th, which devastated Fujian province. The flooding severely impacted rural cities such as Zhuozhou in Hebei province, where most of the urban area was submerged under 6 to 10 feet of water. In an effort to protect Beijing, officials redirected floodwaters into Hebei, causing anger among residents who felt sacrificed for the capital's safety. Across China, flash floods and landslides claimed dozens of lives and affected thousands more. Experts warned that intense and complex typhoons pose a growing risk, even to cities with robust flood defenses. The 2023 China floods affected over 1.5 million people and caused an estimated $13.3 billion in economic losses, highlighting the devastating impact of the unprecedented rainfall and extreme weather events. 8. Libya flooding and Storm Daniel, 2023. One of the most devastating disasters in the last 12 months occurred on September 11, 2023, when two dams collapsed in Libya, unleashing 1 billion cubic feet or 30 million cubic meters of water into already flooded areas, killing over 4,000 people, with 10,000 still missing. The eastern city of Derna, home to around 100,000 people, bore the brunt of the catastrophe, with 1/4 of the city reported as gone, according to a local official. The Libya Flood Response Flash Appeal Extension Addendum, January to March 2024, noted that several factors are influencing and exacerbating the severity of humanitarian needs, including pre-existing humanitarian conditions, deterioration of the socio-economic situation, logistical and access constraints to certain areas. The disaster also raised considerable environmental concerns, with the potential for short and long-term impacts. Experts have suggested that the tragic loss of life in Derna could have been prevented with proper warnings and evacuations. A report released by Amnesty International in March of 2024 examined how the two rival authorities mismanaged the response and failed to issue adequate warnings and take other key risk mitigation measures ahead of Storm Daniel. On September 18, 2023, hundreds of protesters gathered at Sahaba Mosque in Derna, expressing outrage over what they perceived as the Eastern government's neglect of the collapsed dams and a lack of sufficient warning by officials about Storm Daniel. Although this wasn't a natural disaster, it was indeed a devastating event. 7. Morocco Earthquake, 2023. On September 8, 2023, a powerful 6.8 magnitude earthquake shook Morocco's High Atlas Mountains, with the epicenter just 18.5 kilometers deep and about 71 kilometers southwest of the city of Marrakesh. This densely populated area, home to over 840,000 people, bore the brunt of the quake's impact. Reports indicate that numerous buildings collapsed, with others sustaining structural damage. Tragically, the initial death toll stood at 820, though this figure was expected to rise as rescue efforts continued. Satellite imagery and emergency reporting systems were quickly activated to assist with the response. As the day progressed, the scale of the disaster became clearer. By the following morning, the confirmed fatalities had reached a staggering 2,122, with over 2,400 people injured. The hardest-hit provinces were Al Houz, where the quake was centered, and Taroudant. Urgent needs emerged for water, shelter, healthcare, and food assistance, as families remained trapped and roads were blocked, hindering rescue operations. In the aftermath, many residents sought safety outdoors, fearful of further seismic activity and unsettling aftershocks. Looks like Morocco's infrastructure needs some seismic upgrading. Before we continue, make sure to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell to stay updated with our future videos. 6. Campi Flegrei Volcano. Based on popular demand, let's switch gears for a bit and talk about something a little different: the recent activity over at the Campi Flegrei volcano in Italy. Campi Flegrei is a fascinating volcanic feature in southern Italy. Situated on the Bay of Naples, it's a large, flat caldera, a volcanic depression created by the collapse of land after a massive eruption in the past. While it may not be as famous as its neighbor Mount Vesuvius, Campi Flegrei has its own unique characteristics. The name Campi Flegrei translates to burning fields, which is an apt descriptor for this volcanic landscape. The caldera is dotted with 24 craters and volcanic structures, stretching from Naples to the Gulf of Pozzuoli. The last major eruption occurred in 1538, forming the Monte Nuovo hill. Despite appearing relatively dormant on the surface, Campi Flegrei has shown signs of relentlessness in recent decades. There has been an uptick in volcanic activity, with ground uplift, increased earthquake activity, and the continued emission of volcanic gases. This has raised concerns that the caldera may be on the verge of a potentially catastrophic explosion in the not-so-distant future. Beneath Campi Flegrei, the ground is swelling, particularly around the town of Pozzuoli, which lies within the caldera. Over the past decade, the land has been rising by approximately 10 centimeters per year, a phenomenon attributed to the movement of fluids, magma, and volcanic gases ascending to about 3 kilometers below the surface. This process can be likened to a slowly inflating balloon pushing the ground above it upward as magmatic fluids accumulate in the vast network of magma chambers within the crust. As the rocks stretch and crack, they generate frequent tremors, such as the over 600 earthquakes of at least magnitude 2.5 recorded in April 2024, the highest monthly tally ever recorded in the region. So scientists are getting pretty worried about the caldera's crust holding up. There's a real chance that Campi Flegrei could blow up very soon, and that's just really terrifying. And that's for the request from the comments. If you've got another disaster you'd like us to dive into, just let us know in the comments below the video. 5. El Niño in Ecuador. In the spring of 2023, a monstrous coastal El Niño event ravaged the coastal regions of Peru and Ecuador, unleashing unprecedented destruction and chaos. The region was pummeled by torrential rains, triggering catastrophic flooding that swept away entire communities, leaving a trail of death, despair, and devastation in its wake. The effects of El Nino in Ecuador were exacerbated by the country's geography, with the Amazon rainforest experiencing hotter and drier conditions, increasing the risk of wildfires and droughts. The flooding also had a significant impact on the country's agriculture, with crops destroyed and livestock affected, leading to concerns about food security and economic instability. In response to the crisis, the Ecuadorian government declared a national priority to prepare for and prevent damage from the expected heavy rains. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC, allocated funds from its Disaster Response Emergency Fund, DREF, to support affected communities, providing essential supplies including safe drinking water, proper waste management, and food reserves, among other precautionary measures. While the 2023 El Niño event was catastrophic in its own right, it pales in comparison to the devastation wrought by past El Niño events. The 1982 and 1998 El Niño events in particular left a mark on the region's history. During those catastrophic events, the entire country was affected, with the coastal provinces bearing the brunt of the disaster. Dozens of lives were lost and hundreds of homes were inundated and destroyed, leaving countless families without shelter. Now we travel to Chile to see the destruction caused by fire. 4. Cyclone Mocha in Myanmar. In May 2023, extremely severe cyclonic storm Mocha struck Myanmar and parts of Bangladesh, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. The official death toll from this powerful cyclone has now burgeoned to at least 145 people. Mocha was the second depression and the first cyclonic storm of the 2023 North Indian Ocean cyclone season. It originated from a low-pressure area that was first detected by the India Meteorological Department on May 8th. After consolidating into a depression, the storm tracked slowly north-northwestward over the Bay of Bengal. As Mocha moved across the warm waters, it steadily intensified, reaching an extremely severe cyclonic storm intensity. The cyclone then underwent an eyewall replacement cycle before rapidly strengthening to a Category 5 equivalent on May 14th. At its peak, Mocha's winds reached a devastating 270 kilometers per hour or 170 miles per hour. Although the cyclone weakened slightly before making landfall, its impacts were still catastrophic. Mocha's conditions quickly became unfavorable once it moved inland, leading to its rapid dissipation. However, the damage left in its wake has been immense, with the official death toll standing at 145. 3. Chile Wildfire 2024. A devastating series of wildfires swept through Chile's coastal city of Viña del Mar in early February 2024, leaving a trail of destruction and despair. The city, home to 326,000 people, was ravaged by flames that reached temperatures of over 95 to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The disaster was Chile's deadliest forest fire in history, surpassing the 2010 earthquake and tsunami that killed over 500 people and caused $30 billion in damages. At the height of the crisis, 165 active fires raged across the region, with 4 simultaneous fires in the same forest sparking on February 2nd. Firefighting efforts were severely hampered by insufficient water and empty fire hydrants, leaving responders powerless to contain the blaze. The hilly landscape surrounding Viña del Mar further complicated evacuation, firefighting, and search and rescue operations. The aftermath was catastrophic. At least 1,600 people were left homeless, entire neighborhoods were burned to the ground, and several hospitals and nursing homes were evacuated due to power outages. President Gabriel Boric declared a state of emergency and 2 days of mourning, calling the disaster a tragedy of very great magnitude. The health ministry issued a health alert for Valparaiso as the city struggled to cope with the scale of the disaster. The people of Viña del Mar were left to pick up the pieces and rebuild their shattered lives, forever scarred by the memory of the deadly fires that ravaged their city. 2. Landslide in Papua New Guinea 2024. A devastating landslide struck Mulitaka, Papua New Guinea on May 24, 2024. By June 7th, rescue efforts had recovered 12 bodies, with 2,000 more feared buried and presumed dead. However, estimates of the total death toll vary widely, with some reports suggesting as few as 160 fatalities. Just 6 days prior to the landslide, a magnitude 4.5 earthquake struck approximately 105 kilometers west of the affected area, at a depth of 126.2 kilometers below the surface. While some have speculated that the earthquake may have triggered the landslide, the Red Cross has dismissed this theory, instead attributing the disaster to either gold mining activities or heavy rainfall in the region. 1. Wayanad Landslides 2024. On July 30th, 2024, tragedy struck the villages of Punjirimatam, Mundakai, Churamala, Adamala, Mipadi, and Kunhom in Wayanad District, Kerala, India, in the early hours of the morning. A relentless downpour unleashed a series of devastating landslides, sending massive waves of mud, water, and boulders crashing down on the region. The catastrophic event has claimed at least 386 lives and left over 273 injured and 180 people unaccounted for, making it one of the deadliest natural disasters in Kerala's history. The first landslide, which occurred around 1 o'clock Indian Standard Time, ravaged either Punjarimatam or Mundakai, sweeping away entire villages. A second, equally destructive landslide struck nearby Churamala around 4:10, diverting the Aruvahajis River and triggering flash floods that engulfed the village. The disaster left approximately 400 families stranded in Mundakai and Adamala after the only bridge connecting the settlements and Churamala was destroyed. This devastating event is part of a growing trend of extreme weather events that have been plaguing India in recent years. Hey, that's all for this video. What would you like us to cover next? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for our next videos. We'll see you soon on the channel.